মেডিসিনের বাড়ি গেছে সবাই। দেখছি তো কারা আইছে, জিজ্ঞাসা করুন কি লিগা। দেখছি আমি তোমরা আইছো।
are you a complete beginner to Dota 2 or MOBAs in general? Perhaps you've played League of Legends or Heroes of New Earth and want to give Dota 2 a try. Or maybe you've been playing Dota 2 for years and still have no idea what you're doing. Then join in, because you've all come to the right place. Once you've finished watching this video and the remainder in this series, I'm sure you'll have more of an understanding of Dota than you do right now, and will probably actually find some enjoyment in your games, rather than just getting stomped and immediately uninstalling. Now, I might not be the most qualified to teach you everything you might need to know about Dota, but still, I'm a 4K ancient player who thinks he's the best and knows everything about Dota, and I have no doubt in my mind that you will be the next Ana once you've finished watching. Now, before we dive in any further, make sure you subscribe to my channel and click the bell icon to get notifications whenever I upload more Dota content. It is imperative that you do this so you can watch the next video in the series once it's out. Also, I'm pretty sure that there's an automatic increase in skill and intelligence if you subscribe. Please note that resulting increases in skill and intelligence may vary. Now, obviously, Dota 2 is an amazing game, but it can be really overwhelming when first starting out. I remember when I first played the original Dota, I really had no clue what I was doing. Between the crazy number of heroes, items, abilities, game mechanics, and the thousands or so keys you need to press every game, it is no wonder that people get confused and frustrated with this game. But like you've got me, making the series, explaining the basics, plus some hidden secrets that only a seasoned player would know about. I wish I could go back in time and give myself a series, but anyway, there's so much to get through for Dota, which is why, to make this easier for you guys, I'm going to cover a number of videos that will cover a separate topic. Each topic will cover a number of related aspects or mechanics in Dota. Just remember that this is the ultimate beginner's guide. I will teach you what you need to know in order to get started and have a good understanding of most things, but I will not go into too much depth on everything because, as beginners, you really just need to know and understand the basics before learning anything too advanced. I don't want you getting too confused just yet, there's still plenty of time for that. Now, as I mentioned, this series will have multiple videos and will cover multiple topics. Wait, did I say that already? No, I actually forgot. Anyway, the topics and videos will be history and overview, the interface, hero controls, the map, items, warding and vision, leveling up and skill points, hero stats, status effects, game stages, and finally, hero customization. Because everyone loves cosmetics, right? Now, I thought we would start with a brief history of the game up to this point, to give you some kind of idea where this game was born and how it has grown to be what it is today. Now, if you don't care, then just go ahead and jump to 427. Wow, you're actually still here. I didn't think anyone would say this. Okay, well, you guys get an A+ as a bonus MMR. Anyway, Dota 2 stands for Defense of the Ancients 2, because it is the second one. The first one was actually a modified map created for Warcraft 3, which was called Dota All-Stars, and is where quite a bit of the lore of Dota 2 is derived from. This map was first released in 2004, and development of the map was soon passed over to IceRock, who is still somewhat in charge of the development and balance patches that are released even to today. In 2009, Valve approached IceRock to discuss the development of Dota 2, and shortly after announced the first annual International Dota 2 tournament, ironically called the International, which had a huge, at the time, grand prize of $1 million. The first release of Dota 2 was basically a copy of Dota All-Stars with heroes directly ported across. Over time, the game has been updated and improved on and has even had some of the core gameplay mechanics reworked to make the game and viewing experience more interesting. Fast forward to today, and we've just concluded the 9th International Tournament, where the total prize pool was enormously large at over $34 million. Now, if you're trying to decide between playing League of Legends or Dota, or any other MOBA, then choose Dota, because it's got bigger prize pools and also it's better. You can trust me on this. No, seriously guys, my opinion is completely 100% not biased. Let me know in the poll at the top right which one you think is better. And don't worry, it's completely anonymous, so I can't expose you if you like something more than Dota. That being said, I'm not an arsehole, and you're allowed to have your own opinion anyway, even if it's wrong. History lesson over. Let's jump into the overview. Cool, so if you haven't already worked it out, the aim in Defense of the Ancients 2 is to defend the Ancients. Now there's 2 teams in Dota, and each team has their own Ancient to defend. How do you know which Ancient is yours, I hear you ask? Well, as I said, there are 2 teams in Dota, the Radiant side, whose base and Ancient is found in the bottom left of the map, and the Dire side, whose base and Ancient are at the top right of the map. Similar to other MOBAs, Dota features a map with 3 main paths, which are called lanes and are typically referred to as top lane, middle lane, and bottom lane. The map also contains a jungle area on each side of the map, with neutral creeps, and also one badass boss area where the mighty Roshan awaits anyone who might challenge him. There are some other important aspects of the map that you'll need to know, but they will be covered in one of the future videos. On this map, each team will battle it out in order to keep your ancient alive, while simultaneously seeking to destroy the opposing team's ancient. This is how you win a game of Dota, but getting here isn't as simple as walking over there and attacking it. You really didn't think it would be that easy, did you? Not a chance. In order to expose the ancient and make it vulnerable, you must first destroy the towers which are defending it. There are 2 towers in each lane outside of the base, 1 tower in each lane inside the base, and finally 2 more towers right in front of the ancient, which must be destroyed before you can get closer to the ancient. Now that I've given you most of the overview, you still might be left wondering, what part? Creeps are important to you as a hero, because killing creeps grants you gold for items, as well as experience, which contributes towards leveling up your hero and making you more powerful. Now, again, these are all topics on their own, and will be covered in more detail in another video. Now that I've given you most of the overview, you might be left wondering, what part and what role do I play in this fast battle for the defense of the ancients? And that's a fair question, 2,500 hours in, and sometimes I'm still trying to figure this out. Anyway, each team is made up of 5 heroes, picked from the pool of 117 different heroes, one of which will be you and the hero that you control. Each hero in the match is unique, meaning that the same hero can't be selected by other players once it has been taken. The heroes themselves have their own set of unique abilities, spells, stats, and strengths and weaknesses, making them more or less suitable for specific roles or playstyles in the game. This is where strategy starts to factor in, as you'll want to build your team lineup to have a bit of variety in their skills, the type of role they might fulfill, and you'll probably want to consider how they might work together or even counter the enemy hero selections. I think for now that's good enough for an overview, and hopefully I've not overwhelmed you just yet. There's still plenty of time for that to happen in our next topic, the interface. But you'll have to wait until the next video in the series to learn about that. So what are you waiting for? Go download Dota from Steam, fire it up for the first time and jump straight into a game. Before you do that though, maybe you'll want to check out my series on the best and easiest heroes to play for beginners. These videos will take you through a short overview on the skills of those heroes and give you a few tips on how to play them. I've got heaps of other Dota content and more to come in this series, so don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell. That way the YouTube system will send you a notification to let you know my next video is uploaded and ready to watch. There's also a thumbs up button. Make sure you hit that one too, because I'm the teacher and I told you to. Awesome. You guys are all champions. No, I mean heroes. This is Dota after all. Bloody league players. Alright, so we got part 1 in the series, and I'm so hyped that we fired up Dota, and it's super excited to play, and queued up the main menu, and you sort of just got lost in the few tutorial boxes available for you in the Oh my god, this is pretty exciting. Anyway, here I am, your Dota saviour, ready to help you navigate the menus and interface in Dota 2 so that you can actually get into a game and then understand what the hell is going on. Of course, at the end of the video will be an interface expert and goes down to the exact number of pixels, the size and location of every single button to give you information about the issue. Either that or perhaps you just be a little bit less confused. Moving on. Make sure you're subbed to my channel and hit that bell thing to get notifications when my videos are uploaded. Obviously, this is the second video in the series, so having these notifications will be super helpful if you want to watch the whole series as soon as the video is released. Dota is such a beautiful game, but it's so damn complex, and the interface can be as well if you don't know what you're doing. If you don't, because you're a beginner. But that's okay, you've got me, I've got you. Right, let's start with the main menu. It can get quite in-depth, so we'll start simple. I'll try to run through this quickly, but we'll do a little bit of explaining on each item. Also, feel free to skip to the next section if you're familiar with what it is already. Now, I'll make sure to put the time in the description for you so I can continue to do that. Alright, so up to the top here, we've got the settings button, which will open the settings menu. You can open that and you can play around in here. There's quite a lot of options, so it might be best to leave it alone if you don't know what you're doing. I'll be going through this in another video anyway, actually on the next video, which is on hero controls, so make sure you come back for that one. Now next to the settings button over here, we've got the navigation buttons, which will allow you to go back and forth to the tabs if you need. I haven't gone to any tabs yet, so I don't have these open, so I don't have any option available. But you can, as you start moving around, you'll see that these will come available to you. Alright, next to the navigation buttons is the Dota logo, which is also just the main menu button. It will just take you back to the main menu page. Now up here is the Heroes button, which will bring up a screen of all the heroes which are by default sorted by their primary attribute. Once you're in this Heroes menu as well, you can click on any of the heroes that you like, which will bring up more information about that hero, and it can be very useful to invest some time into while you're learning. I recommend you do this if you're just new to the game, as you can read about the hero's abilities, look at the, well, you won't have access to these ones, but you can see the different cosmetics you've got, you can see your stats with the hero, you can see any guides for the hero, and also in this about section you can see the different stats for the hero, which is quite useful to know when you're learning. Definitely reading the different abilities and the talent trees and all of that stuff, as well as this demo hero button, which will give you a little bit of a go at the hero. Definitely worth doing, which you can see now. It just opens up this demo menu, but I'm not going to go into that. Up the top here is the store button, which will allow you to spend your hard-earned money on digital items with almost no perceivable value in the real world. But they do look good in game, so make sure you check this out. Now these don't actually have any effect on the... I'll open one here. They don't actually have any effect on the strength of your hero in the game, and they won't give you any advantage in the game. But they definitely do make your hero look cool, and that's what it's about these days. Those style points, gotta get them. You could be the most garbage player in the world, but really, who cares if you got the latest Arcana? Over from the Store tab is the Watch tab, which will allow you to view live games as well as tournaments and replays, which you can see the live games here at the moment. There's some league games going on as well. And if you go to tournaments up the top, you can see all the past and present tournaments. And you can click into those further and watch the games there. Other than that, you can see the replays here, which you can see your friend matches, some popular tournament matches if there are any. Also matches you might have saved to watch later. And in your downloads tab, you can see all of the matches that you've actually downloaded and you can watch. Anyway, across from the Watch tab is the Learn tab. Now you can go through this one if you want, but honestly my series is better. Actually, probably not. But in there they do have a tutorial which can be useful if you're completely new. There's also a tab which will showcase all of the items here, so you can read through each one to understand what they do, and I find this really helpful if you're just learning. Now the last tab up the top here is the Arcade, which is basically where you can play modded versions of Dota. Yeah, there's lots of different types in here. Yeah, that's probably enough of the arcade tab. At the top right, you can see your shards tally, which you'll see if you've got Dota Plus, which probably most of you beginners won't, but that's there if you've got it. Now, across from the notifications, you can see your armory, which you can click on, and it displays all of the items that you have for each of your characters. And you can sort them here as well. Across from the armory, and remember where this button is. This is the exit button. So if you want to quit Dota because you've lost too many times, you can click this one and you can quit. Make sure you remember where this one is. It's really good after a few bad games. Now over here is your profile, which you can edit to make it look how you like. You can also see a history of your previous games and some other things as well. I have a play around in this one. There's quite a lot of things you can do in here, so I'm not going to go into too much depth. But yeah, have a play. In the middle of the main menu, there's typically some advertisements for the latest arcana or news item. Here you can see a treasure. At the moment, it's still...
Stewart, time lapse for S4, but it's got the silent puts onto the two.
Always keeps the wave on the other side of the river, just to stop the threat from Weehar coming in.
Doing a lot here to him, but, you know, it doesn't matter when up towards top, it looks like they're going to get not one, but 2 kills. Miracle with the double kill, Hanskin and S4 dropping down in this top lane. Yeah, he's really laying down the hurt in this lane. A lot more than, I mean, they already have 3 kills here, so yeah, it's way more than I've already expected.
Bot lane as well, they're going on the
mid, Limp, he's going to get run down. Weehaw getting the kill over mid. Hanskin makes the rotation. I'm not certain it's quick enough. Fairy Fire. Alright, quick hits. Now Weehaw's leading the experience. Like, the lane was going so well for the Lina, and all of a sudden it was back-to-back deaths.
Look at this play
really turned it around.
Miracle and GH coming in. They're going to walk under a ward though. But they want to hit Limp here. Like, the stacks are coming up.
Look at this, just coming in, the stun hits though, Laguna Blade, and now with the skewer, S4 rotates, gets the kill in a Miracle. Overplaying his hand. Certainly close, and now going for S4, who has no mana to do anything with. And avoid through, and
mid as well.
Kill, and then mid again, Weehaw with that lasso to take out Lina, and Enigma, they're gonna get a third. Static Storm was committed. Hanskin falls to Miracle. He gets a double kill, 9-3 in favor of Team Enigma. And they're trying to the tier 1 tower over me. Glimpse is already used. They're going to TP.
Good shade.
Look at that from RMN. That is bouncing around the silence. Hits on a Weehawk for a second. There's the LSA as well as Luna Good Way. They get the kill on RMN. They look over as Primal Warriors out on the limb. They'll get the kill on the Lina as well as the Undying. They save the tier 1 over mid.
S4 really wants to find an RP.
Yeah, you're just walking in a lasso though. Gets the RP, he's already dead. Weehaw might fall. Nico Baby's here. Hanskin looking next though. LSA hits, Miracle in trouble. He needs to get away. Can't do so. Miracle drops. Hanskin doesn't. They're pressuring these towers too, pretty heavily.
Look at the tier 2 bottom for Alliance. Like, that's more than half gone already. If they just play down towards the bottom end of the map, they could probably take it. They get a killer, so.
If they get that before the 20-minute mark as well, right? Like, it sets up ready for the outpost as well.
On a mind control, he does have the Primal Roar if he can get it off, but he's silenced thanks to the Static Storm. The Chain Frost is bouncing. Miracle moving towards Hanskin leaves Nico Baby to be low and go towards the Lich. They're not going to get anything out of this, at least so far, but they find Limp. So Weehaw is here. One more shot gets the kill. Glimpse all the way back on the GH. Now he needs to be careful. They did lose RMN. Can he tether to anybody? Anybody near?
AM
He got Weehaw close, and yeah, he gets the tether over. And the rest of the team, like, Enigma have moved around the map as one unit so well so far. Sinister Gaze, RP hits on a Weehaw. And the Static Storm, Laguna Blade, everything in the kitchen sink gets thrown at this Bat Rider just to get one kill. The sun doesn't land. Link's in trouble. RMN comes over the Chain Frost Throne again. That'll bounce all the way to FNG. It was off the dead body of the Luna. Doesn't really bounce much more afterwards. Two with Shockwave, but now they've got the bounce as well as the leech on RMN, who has the stays on the tower. Finally, a kill there from the Baby, who is dominating. Looks over Mind Control, Secure, goes for the two. GH, Mind Control. Now, just in time, but it's pulling to the side. So, Mind Control still getting chased down by Nico Baby as well as FNG. FNG doing a lot of damage. She's taking a couple of shots here from Nico Baby, but here comes Miracle. Miracle blinks forward. Mind Control ends up dead. So Miracle's coming in no man's land. He has to fight basically 4 against the world. Shockwave
Sarkas no matter.
Once more, Nico Baby in some trouble. White Coat's coming in pretty hard though. He's got himself 25 seconds of essence shit. They have the last one. Can they get the kill? We have still taking a lot of damage. Nico Baby continues to survive. And Alliance are getting away with this one.
We have to say Nico Baby hasn't died this whole game as well. He's played well. They finally got the job.
He was on a Hansky. Got Miracle coming over. Static Storm is using his force here. Silence out onto the Anti-Mage to get the kill on a Mind Control. We got to get a lot of damage. Nico Baby, he's still dealing with 29 stacks of essence shit. They're fighting with his sword, and he's got so much going for him right now. Look at the damage he's doing on a Miracle. The experience now favoring the Lions. Never still just a slight number over towards Enigma. Nico Baby comes over. They got themselves the last one with the RP! S4 lands in Static Storm! It's on the 3! With the kinetic
Good Chain Frost
throw.
throw.
I think that is what it is.
Isn't it good?
Game break and missed it. At the winter breathing. Nico Baby does not die. He gives it the
Yes,
carefully pieces up.
I just think they're good.
Any action. Oh, no. Just a lock bomb and gets Enigma. Weehaw, one more shot. 10 stacks of sticky napalm. As go.
I say that. I think
In therapist, triple deep in profit. He thought she could work his hutch. Come into this. Tell it be sure. He's got off for Hans in one shot from dead.
You've been working 7 days a week, all year round, taking only a few holidays, and being told constantly that your work needs to be changed. 2 guys on your development team have had to quit due to almost having mental breakdowns. You're working on what could be the greatest game the world has ever known. Perhaps the most complex game ever created. Well, partly created, because every time you get close to finishing just one part of the game, you're told it's just not right. In fact, you're starting to feel like you're looking for a pot of gold at the end of a rainbow, chasing your own shadow, being asked to believe in something that doesn't actually exist. This is the story of the most expensive game never created. First of all, modern video games are very expensive to make, and they take a long time to complete. Here at the Infographics Show, we actually know a guy who spent years working on some very big video game titles. He had 2 nervous breakdowns in those years and said developing video games was the most stressful environment he'd ever worked in. We guess making games sounds like a really fun job, but trust us, playing them is not like making them. So you have these big teams of developers working really long shifts and going out of their minds. They need to be paid a fair bit of money for this, and then after that, you've got marketing and packaging and office space to pay for. You might have a team of, say, 150 core people to make a complex game such as Grand Theft Auto, and they might be working on it for 3 to 4 whole years before any cash comes back. Grand Theft Auto 5 is estimated to have cost anything from $139 million to $270 million to make. The good news is it also made tons of money for its publisher Rockstar Games. That was to the tune of about $6 billion in total revenue. The game Destiny cost about $500 million to make, and market, which is more than any movie that's ever been made. Okay, so it can be costly to make a game, and of course, it's a big risk. And it certainly paid off for Rockstar with their Grand Theft Auto franchise, and we reckon Nintendo with its Super Mario franchise is a bank full of billions in gold coins. But imagine this for a second. You're spending years and years on a game you and lots of overworked, stressed out, Adderall-eating developers, and you just can't finish the thing. It's like the search for the Holy Grail, but not quite as exciting. Maybe a better comparison would be quarantine with a computer. The game we're talking about is called Star Citizen, and its story is mind-blowing, if not confusing. You see, back in 2011, when this game got off the ground, it did so only with the help of the public. It had raised $2 million in crowdfunding by 2013, and the bosses said, okay, now we can start. Developers start writing code. And that was 7 years ago, and you know those guys, the ones that lasted, are still at their stations, no doubt now on an Adderall trip. The team of guys in charge of making this game belong to a company called Cloud Imperium. They've been busy getting more funding, and believe it or not, they're now at around $328 million. That makes it the most expensive game ever in terms of development. The game Destiny might have cost around $500 million. That was the full shebang. There was tons of money on marketing and packaging. Destiny's creators actually said that production alone was not even close to $500 million. And Destiny is actually finished, which is quite important indeed. So we have Star Citizen right now, the most expensive game not ever made, but never made. We're going to go into details about the game itself, but we'll tell you that it's in the space trading and combat simulator genre of games, meaning you'll be flying around in space, shooting things and buying things. Did we ever tell you this amazing fact? Space is a big place, like really big. There's a lot to work with if you're trying to make a space game seem realistic. Let's say there are around 2 trillion galaxies in the universe, and each of them holds millions and millions of stars. Then you've got a star system like our solar system, and that itself is pretty big. But we hear that Star Citizen wants to create 100 star systems. Maybe that's just too ambitious. We think you'll soon find out that it is. That's kind of the whole problem these guys are having making this damn game. Just how big do you make space when you're trying to make the best space game ever? How perfect do you make it all? There have been investors sinking millions into this game, but the majority of the cash, over $250 million of the money, has been crowdfunded. That's Joe Public putting in his hard-earned money into a game that can't seem to get finished. People are starting to say, well, if Rockstar could blow your mind with the GTA title in 3 years, then surely Star Citizen is not just literally going to be out of this world, but figuratively too. Almost a decade on a game. Surely they've got something really special already, or maybe not. There are people out there that think Star Citizen won't be that mind-blowing at all, and the money has all been virtually vaporized. Those critics, and we're reading one right now, say there is no Holy Grail. They say Star Citizen is a chimera, the game version of Kaiser Soze. Others say it's a scam, or it's just been very badly managed. We have no idea. Don't shoot the messenger, we're just telling you what we've read. This is how one reporter put it. Star Citizen has become the lightning rod for controversy, with several entire forums worth of people dedicated to forensically dissecting every tiny detail, rumor, or allegation surrounding the project. The thing is, that report was made almost 4 years ago, and the game still hasn't been completed, and the guys are still asking for more money. One thing might just be that the person at the head of the production team is a perfectionist. But you know, one of those perfectionists that can be quite hard to work with. Creating the perfect universe might not be so easy. More recent reports we found say the game has been mismanaged, on Star Citizen has been chaotic. Or being told to travel to a castle that's just impossible to get to. This is what one investor said after he saw where his money had gone and how far the game had got in terms of development. The game they promised us can't even barely run. The performance is terrible and it's still in an alpha state. They lied to us. He wanted his money back. This guy said that back in mid-2019, he was promised that the game would have 100 star systems. But guess what? When he looked at the alpha mode, it didn't even have one fully completed star system. Not one star system in one entire decade. Let's do some math. 10 years, 100... Maybe the game will be completed around 2120. All of its fans will be dead by then, or at least have grown out of computer games. Now check out, why do games cost $60? Why hasn't the price of video games changed? Or are you playing the losing game, Fortnite versus it? It's another beautiful day in the neighborhood, you think to yourself as you wake up and peer outside. The sun is shining, the birds are, well, squawking because you live near the beach, which means you only ever see seagulls. Strange, you swear to remember there being more species of birds than just seagulls, hawks, doves, and one foul-mouthed parrot. Whatever. You push those strange bird thoughts aside and put on your best Mr. Rogers sweater. Then hop outside and get to work. You climb into your modest but reliable 2010 faction and check traffic before pulling out of your parking spot. Traffic's light. Come to think of it, traffic's always pretty light. And you can't remember the last time you were stuck in a traffic jam longer than for 30 seconds. Golly, your life sure is convenient, you think to yourself. As you're driving along, you tune to your favorite radio station, Radio Los Santos. Sure, they only play like the same 15 songs, but hey, they're pretty good songs. Cruising along, you're making good time when suddenly a brand new Formula One race car comes roaring down the road behind you, blasting by you at over 100 miles an hour. And chasing the super race car is a... Wait, is that a hover bike? Yes, it is in fact a hover bike, and the rider is busy unloading a submachine gun into the speeding Formula One race car. You immediately take the next right. Not sure what in the world you just saw, but eager to get the hell out of the way. This street's a bit more serene, and you put as much distance as you can between yourself and that high-speed car chase. You think about calling the cops for a second, but just then a police car comes screaming by you, heading toward that duo you left behind. Somehow in this city, the cops just sort of know when something bad's going on, and they always seem to be just around the corner. It's kind of convenient, but you suddenly realize it's also kind of terrifying. Just what kind of oppressive police state are you living in, where local police have every nook and cranny of a city under so much surveillance they can respond to any crime in seconds? Well, at least this time the cops are going after the bad guys. You see another police car coming your way, and this one too looks like he's really in a hurry to get to the crime scene. You're glad to see the police are so motivated today. Gang members shooting each other. Other drivers out of the way. Despite the madness behind them, though, drivers ahead of the oncoming fire truck act completely normal and don't even bother to get out of the way. The fire truck's rampage goes unchecked, at least until another driver, this time in a vehicle that looks like a car ramp, comes flying down the street straight at the fire truck. As you stare incredulously, the fire truck gets rammed straight up and